Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
Uh-oh.
And we get our musical interlude from Tom.
What do I have to do? What do I have to say? Yeah. What do I have to go through to make this bitch go away? Well, every morning that I get up, I see the news on the Twitter. They say that they have finally given up. Oh yeah, sources say she's a quitter. Oh yeah, but she destroyed my galaxy far, far away. And made Willow go far, far astray. Well, now she's gone giving Indy a Viking funeral. What's next, ladies and gentlemen? Is it Howard the Duck, the musical? Oh no, it's nothing taken, it's no one safe. Oh yeah, might as well give up, it's checkmate. I don't care what you say, you're such a liar. Kathleen Kennedy will never retire, yeah.
They will find a necromancer to animate her fucking corpse.
That's right.
Welcome once again, kids! It's time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. Welcome to the program. I'm Tom Connors. With me tonight, I've got a panel, and we're going to talk some news. I know some other people might be joining us shortly. I expect Mikey to be along before too long. But we have CC Karaoke here hanging out in the Great White North. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. Got a view in front of me, working on the channel, playing video games. Yeah, it's been all right.
Nice. Also joining us, Mr. Clobbering Times. How you doing, sir?
Hey, buddy. Doing all right, man. Great to be here. I'm honored. Thank
How's
you for having
traffic?
me. Oh, it is horrific if you're in, well, actually, it's part of the course in certain parts of New Orleans.
I heard you were battling it earlier.
Well, I always am. So I live in it. I live in it. Yeah, needed it. But, you know, it's better than not working. Right?
And we've got Nick Weiser here, who's going to phone home tonight, from what I hear. You're going to see E.T. phone home.
E.T. Yes, E.T.
Or E.T. Eddie Torres, extra testicle.
Gonna bring the minions out to see it at the local park in our area for movie night. They're looking forward to it. I'm looking for it. So happy to be here, though. Until then, Tom, thank you for having me. Hello, chat. Hello, mods. And always good to hang out with Klobby and CC as well. And also, we got a guy to my right who I'm looking to hear from named the Scribe Light. A pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too. Thank you so much for having me on, Tom. Appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to have Scribelight here. I've streamed with you a couple times, but I don't think I've ever had you on the show proper. Welcome to the program. I saw you in the chat, so I figure I'll throw you the link. See if you're busy. Welcome.
I'm both surprised and honored. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, it's been a while since we've got a chance to talk, and I was so glad to see you in the chat. So welcome, and hopefully you have a good time with us here. We have super chat already. Lance Corporal Waffles. So this is my birthday. May I request a Bat Tom song? Oh dear Lord, I got a rough waking morning.
That's money well spent.
Yeah, hang on here.
Jeez.
It's Bat Tom.
Oh, hey, kids.
Hey, Bat.
It's early for me. It's not quite dark yet. I couldn't imagine living in Canada like that bald kid over there. No, I don't mean nothing by that, kid. I just say he's bald. Anyway, I lost this song. I don't have the original lyrics. So I found this song. I went through my CDs and I just grabbed the lyrics. So let me just read you the lyrics here and hopefully it works. You don't have to be beautiful to turn me on. I just need your body, baby, from dusk till dawn. This is a good CD. You don't need experience to turn me out. You just leave it all up to me. And, this is getting awkward. Lance, happy birthday, my friend. Where's my $20? Thank you.
Was that written by Indiana's cousin, Tom, by any chance?
Maybe.
Yeah.
All I need is your kiss. Anyway, thank you so much, Lance, for that. We appreciate it. And happy birthday, my friend.
That song is best used as the opening theme to My Stepmother the Alien, if I remember correctly.
Oh, is it in that too?
Yes, it's the opening music. That's great.
Is it really? What's your first thought? It says, in the 7 steps of denial, where is Disney? 1, shock and denial. 2, pain and guilt. 3, anger and bargaining. 4, depression. 5, upward turn. 6, reconstruction. And 7, working through acceptance and hope. I think number 1. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, actually. Little shock and denial, and that's probably on all fronts. In fact, they're getting help in the guise of the Hollywood Reporter and some other media outlets out there. In sense, they're doing a bunch of these stories like this one we're going to touch on here, where they say Indiana Jones box office openings, how the Dial of Destiny compares to the 4 previous films. Why would they want to do this?
Oh boy, it's going to be fun.
Okay, so let's rewind to summer of 1981 at the box office slump. A variety of factors were to blame for the downturn, including a rising movie ticket price. Production costs sound familiar. But the summer season ended on a high note after Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark rode to the rescue. Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg, from a story and concept. I think they're forgetting that Superman 2 opened that summer too in the U.S.
It did.
What prior is that lacking in knowledge? I mean, we're not talking about intelligent people here, to be fair.
Well, it says that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is the 5th and final installment in the storied series. And it opened to an underwhelming $60.4 million at the domestic box office. Below, the Hollywood Reporter ranks each of the 5 indie movies according to their opening weekends at the domestic box office when adjusted for inflation from highest to lowest. Surprises could be in store. Yeah, no. Let's be real here. We know what this article is trying to do, right? Can anybody take a wild stab in the dark?
It's not that bad, guys. I mean, look at inflation compared to these other things. It's actually pretty good in the sake of the franchise. Everybody, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Please don't fire me.
Sort of. You're close, though. Okay, so what this is doing is that's partially what's going on. You're not wrong. The other part of this is, it's not the worst opening ever for an Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
But what one could be the worst? I wonder. And why would they ever think to do this? Just to kind of bolster what little this movie has to offer, I guess, and kiss Disney's butt some more. So yeah, of course, the 5th and final installment being the newest one. The 4th one is the highest grossing as far as openings, and that's no surprise. I mean, this movie came on how many years since the last one? 15, I think it was at that
19
time.
after,
19 years, 89 to 2000.
So 89, 08, 23.
while the reputation of the franchise was still bankable. That's the real question.
Right.
This is coming off of the Last Crusade and the film having been, surviving on, video and Laserdisc and DVD and television.
Of anticipation, man. They were like, wow.
A lot of anticipation.
Getting Indy back after, 19 years. Way too long, but still, even though
Harrison Ford wasn't
too long, we couldn't wait.
Too old yet. And Harrison Ford was still within that range where you're like, okay.
He was his character in that
conversation was there though.
Let Clobby finish real quick.
Yeah, sorry, Clobby.
I'm saying the character in the movie was my age. He was 58, and if you watch him in that movie, he looks a lot older than he was before. But he's the action sequence. He's still vibrant. I mean, yes, he's slower. They make some good humor about it, but he never looks like. He always looks like he can handle himself. He's always still formidable, even though he's old. You even kind of go, wow, for an old guy, he's really handling himself pretty well, and that's kind of part of the charm of it. In spite of all the things flawed about the movie, he's not the problem. There was a lot of just bad story elements of the movie there, but Indy's there.
And what were you going to say, Nick? I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure you finished his thought.
No. That was all my fault. I'll own that one. We had. I remember when it came out in 2008, and really looking forward to it. Like, hey, sweet, cool. Like, I didn't think we'd ever going to get this, but it's a good thing they're doing this now. I remember having a conversation with friends at a Borders I used to work at, saying they better get this movie now because if they don't, they're not going to have a chance in 10 years. Well, do I realize how wrong I was on that one? I was just like, yeah, let's do this now before he gets too old because he's getting close to there. And I thought, I'm like, you could probably get away with it. This could be his oldest, but I'm like, another 5 years, and unless he's like a Chuck Norris guy. Obviously, there's guys who are exceptions to the rule of the age, but Harrison Ford's not really been known for being like a shredded type to stay in shape, which is fine. He's not needed or required to.
But my understanding,
decent health.
Was, and not to interrupt you, Nick, but I think for when they were releasing this, I think George was planning on a trilogy, and the ending of that trilogy was going to be handing the reins off to Mutt. And I think that was kind of the whole thing at the end of the movie where he's like, not yet, kid, or whatever it is when he grabs his hat. Yeah,
I remember that. No, I remember hearing about that with Lucas wanting to do Mutt. And you know what? Granted, I would prefer him not to be replaced, but if I had to choose between the greater and lesser two evils, the greater meaning Phoebe, lesser meaning Mutt, I would take Mutt any day.
Yeah, and there's other factors involved in it. And this is going to come in even more importantly as we get down this list. We got to remember Crystal Skull was the only one that kind of opened close to, and they're not, this is another thing you'll notice they don't bring up in this article. Crystal Skull, and I don't really have the number in front of me, but I'm willing to guess, opened up on around 2,000 screens. Because, like, this is more of a modern era film to where these movies would open up on 1,000 screens, 2,000 screens easy, no problem. Actually, more like 1,500 to 2,000 screens easy, no problem on a weekend. And Indiana Jones dominated the box office that weekend, obviously, before any word of mouth could get out. It had a huge opening weekend. But yeah. And then we have Temple of Doom next.
And that makes sense because, again, we have 3 years later after the first one. And by the way, whatever they're trying to say here, and when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, nobody knew who Indiana Jones was. It was a sleeper hit in a sense of surprise. Who knew it was? And it slowly had to build off of word of mouth. But the time
I would say hold on to that for now,
Clobby.
I would say just hold on to that thought because that's going to become important. No. You're on point. But I think you're getting ahead. Yeah, just wait here. Because, Temple of Doom being the second film, I think it's the second least grossing one up until now, if I'm not mistaken, just because, like, that summer had a lot of competition. That's something we got in a debate about the other night, was how packed 84 was with blockbuster hits, right? And Indiana Jones got mixed up in amongst them, and it still did very, very well. But, you had movies like Beverly Hills Cop come later in the year, Ghostbusters the same time it came out, Gremlins the same time it came out, Police Academy came out that summer, Karate Kid came out that summer.
It was a very good year.
It was.
On top of it, to add to what you're saying,
Last
Tom,
Starfighter, I think, came out that summer too.
With Temple, It wasn't as well received, I guess you could say, by normies, the general crowd. Now,
Well, the shittics.
hardcore indie fans really like it. I enjoy it myself.
I love
I'm
it.
one of those people who always enjoy Temple of Doom.
It's the
But
first
yeah,
one
as
I
far as the
remember
general
seeing.
audience, I think I can't remember. It was either that or Raiders for me. I can't remember when. But
If I
do
saw
know,
Raiders,
like,
I don't remember it. Temple of Doom, I remember seeing first.
Right.
yeah, I've talked to my dad about this because he saw all these movies in theaters, and he said at the time, like, he thought he was alone in liking Temple of Doom because he said, like, the general audience
Yeah,
was not into it. But
the
then also
shittics
he would
were
meet
really-
other
they re-
people who were big indie
Yeah.
fans like him, and they loved it too.
Yeah.
So we realized it was definitely you could call it a made for the fans type of movie, if you will.
The shittics were brutal to Temple of Doom, but my buddies and I, we all loved it. So
Well, what's funny is it has some of the more iconic moments. I mean, the looks of Indiana Jones, like most of the posters and all that kind of stuff you see in images, come from Temple of Doom, right? Like it's more
Yes.
the quintessential. And to me, it feels like it's the most closest to what Indiana Jones is kind of trying to emulate. Because you kind of had the serials. Yeah, you kind of had the two kinds. You had the adventure serials, which is kind of what Raiders of the Lost Ark is kind of doing. And then you had the similar adventure serials, but they were more of the, darker, kind of a little bit more, tongue-in-cheek, edge of your seat kind of stuff. And that's what Temple of Doom's kind of making more, or not making fun of, but paying more homage to, right? And then you get to yeah, there you go. That's a good set. And then you get to Last Crusade, which is kind of more like Raiders Raid Do, but yeah. But no, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing I really love about Temple of Doom, even though it's the quote unquote the lesser of the original trilogy, is that it's set earlier in the chronology of things, and also it established the series, at least at that time, that each movie was its own standalone adventure.
Yes.
There's no connection between the first and the second one, save for Indiana Jones. He's the common element. And while I loved The Last Crusade, as I'm sure several people have said previous to this, obviously, took a step back and just making the enemy again the Nazis, but whatever. But yeah, it really set up that sort of because originally wasn't Lucas wanting to do a James Bond movie and he couldn't get the rights, so it was like Spielberg wanted to. And
Spielberg wanted to do a Bond, and that's where this opening comes from. Yep, Lucas wrote it specifically to be a Bond opening for Spielberg. Yep.
Right, yeah, and so Indiana Jones becomes the adventure equivalent of James Bond, where you plunk him down in an adventure, and then you move on to the next adventure, and they don't have to be one continuous narrative, which I thought was a really good idea. And when I was a kid, I was overloaded because of the train car sequence and the hearts being pulled out and all the other crazy stuff. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy, and I could see it as a kid. As I got away with getting in the theater because it was still kind of PG-ish.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that's where I was going to go, is how this and Gremlins are almost single-handedly, those two together, were basically responsible for the PG-13 rating, and Spielberg lobbying to the MPAA, like, look, we need something in between R and PG here. Yeah. And I think that argument originated with movies like Jaws, which was his as well, and things like The Exorcist, which people are like, how, could The Exorcist today be PG-13? Probably.
Sure.
Same thing with like Jaws would obviously be a PG-13 rated film. Either way you cut it compared to
Army of Darkness is rated R technically, but you put it in a modern theater, that'd be a PG-13 easy.
Oh yeah, definitely you could get a PG-13 easy now. But that's a great examples right there. But yeah, no, and I know it's a necessary evil. Now the PG-13 is kind of a redheaded stepchild of sorts, because it's like their fallback spot for everything now, and it's, to me, it kind of has ruined R-rated films in the long run. But at the time when it came out, and for the first 10 or so years it was used, it was good. It did its job. But anyhow, let's see here. Moving on, of course, the next one, no surprise, is The Last Crusade. This one actually opened on Memorial Day and smashed records. I remember that was early summer of 1989 in a big year. And they had to get up as front ahead of Batman as they could. And they also had Ghostbusters on its tail too. And Star Trek as well. That's right. I think came out in between there. You're right. Yeah. Again, another chock full year full of movies. Although some may call it the summer of disappointment. I don't know how we can call it that when you've got at least a few.
That was the summer of disappointment. Then what's the summer of 2023 then?
Exactly. No. And then this is what what I don't get about that is like, yeah, I understand, but we have a handful of films like Batman, Last Crusade, and a few others that you can still hold up and say, look, these are great films. Star Trek, for instance, too. I like it anyway. So yeah,
I see this one. I actually kind of believe it. You know why? Because the standards for everything, I guess you could say back then, was just it was a lot more complex, and everything was held to such a higher standard. Kind of reminds me of for compare contrast, when Chuck Dixon say back in the day, a failing comic, keywords failing comic would sell 100,000 copies. Nowadays, a 30,000 selling is considered a success, and I think that could be where that's coming from by that logic.
Oh, and don't forget, Lethal Weapon 2 came out that summer too.
That's true.
Yeah. Good movie. Great movie.
Not my favorite of the bunch, but yeah. And of course, number 4, Dial of Destiny. We knew it couldn't be the last one. So that, of course, leaves it open for the last one, which, Clobby, now is where I set you loose. Because, as you were saying, Indiana Jones wasn't a well-known property yet when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. It only opened in 1,000 theaters. I can't believe they actually admitted that here.
At least they're admitting it.
Because, go ahead, sir.
Well, I was reading about this movie in Starlog for months, and it was like, it's got Han Solo in it. I'll go. I mean, it looks pretty cool, but that was just it. It looked like, maybe that's interesting, right?
This movie was sold completely on the idea that the guy who made Close Encounters and Jaws is making a movie with the guy who made Star Wars.
Exactly, but still, you're going, it looks cool. Let me go see. It's not, I'll just put it to you like this: June 12th, the day it opened. How's this for a day at the movies for you? As a kid, we were on vacation. I'm old. Okay, forgive me. I was 15, 16, whatever it was. I went in the daytime before my whole family went to see this, and I went to see Clash of the Titans, which opened the same day. Harryhausen's Clash of the Titans, and ended the day going to see this. And of all of my greatest movie going experiences, this has got to be right up there at the top. It blew everybody away. The theater was captivated by it. The scene alone, that one scene alone where he shoots the swordsman, the theater did not stop vibrating for 10 minutes. Everyone's laughing so loud.
I can't imagine what it would have been like seeing this for the first time, because by the time I became aware of and saw Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones had already permeated the culture, right? And I can't believe they started off the article the way they did, because as you just pointed out, this opened the same day as Clash of the Titans, which went on to do okay. It didn't do great, but it did okay. Right. But it also opened up against On Golden Pond, which went on to win Best Picture, and Superman 2, as we pointed out earlier as well, which is nothing to sneeze at.
This should have won, but this was actually nominated, though.
Yeah,
it played at the theater for over a year, and I must have went over well over 10 to 15 times. I can't remember how many times. We were just it was nothing we'd ever seen before, even though it is a lot like the old movie serials and all that stuff. Imagine when you're 15 or 16 and this thing comes out, we just lived at the theater.
Well,
it's just,
the copium of this, because look, they even have to point out at the end here, Raiders also spent 42 weeks in the top 10.
Unheard of.
Tom, I don't know all the articles you have prepped here, but I want to make a Kreskin.
Well, this is the only main one, but I mean the obvious. They have one that's elemental. They're making excuses for. That was kind of the whole point of this. They're making excuses for these movies now.
Well, the theme that I've seen both with this, most especially with this, given the price tag, the phrase that comes to mind is "damned with faint praise." It's like, it wasn't the worst box office performer of the franchise. Like, if that's it gives a lot away when that's the best you can say about the situation. It's like, well, by inflation standards, it didn't do that bad.
Not that bad.
Yeah.
No, but what this article does, though, is it sets up the argument and the people that will use this argument are the ones who always do, and that is, it at least beat the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
Are those same people that, went around and saying, The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie since Empire Strikes Back. It feeds into that kind of culture.
Right. It's so it's very disingenuous.
But does whataboutism pay the bills? No, it doesn't.
No.
Well, and it's caught up with them. I mean, we were just talking about this over on Pro Show, and so for anybody who's joining us from there, welcome. We were just talking about how, this is the one time where we're even kind of surprised, because we all thought that they would still pull another one out. Like, they always managed to just get away with it. And that's kind of what the last few movies have been. If you go back to whether it's Marvel or what have you, they're just barely getting away with it at the box office. They're making enough to make it seem like it's worth it. But at the end of the day, we're starting to learn these movies are costing a heck of a lot more than they're reporting. And that's perfect timing for our money man, Mr. Mike. How you doing, Mikey?
Hey, boys. Sorry I'm late.
That's fine. No worries, brother. Hopefully Bambino is doing well and you are too.
Bambino got in trouble today.
What did he do?
Well, he needs to understand that when his master calls and gives him orders, that those orders are to be listened to because it's summertime and the gators are out. And Bambino took off, got out of his leash while we were on a walk.
And he's an hors d'oeuvre to them.
Yeah. And Bambino's not. Yeah, Bambino thinks he's like 200 pounds of terror, but he's like 7 pounds of weak. And he took off running. Normally, it's not a big deal, but he turned around and took off across the golf course towards the gator pond. So I was like running full throttle and tilt trying to chase him down. I basically had to tackle him. And yeah, it was pretty bad. I freaked out, bro. I actually got scared because he was running like straight to the gator pond.
Bad Bambino. And yeah, they won't hesitate, will they? They'll just scoop him right up.
Anyway, sorry to derail the convo. What are we talking about? No,
man. We were just talking about the copium over at Disney and mainly the copium of Indiana Jones and how this movie is failing, how all their movies are failing across the board, how Hollywood Reporter and some of these other papers are running interference for these movies. And what I had up here as an example of the many that are out there is this article where they basically try to paint Dial of Destiny as having a better open than Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a ton of asterisks next to that. Of course, you know what I mean? Like, wow. Yeah, it is the most, and I think, Scribe was kind of describing it as best as possible is kind of like this minimum way of trying to pat them on the back, I guess was the best way you were kind of explaining it. Yeah.
Oh, damning with faint praise is the
faint praise is the phrase. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And I don't know if you have met Scribe yet, Mike, but Scribe like meet Mike if you haven't, and of course the rest of the crew, obviously. Because I'm horrible at introing people.
I think we've been on at least one stream together before. I follow Mike on Twitter. So yeah, hey Mike, how you going?
Hey Scribe, how you doing?
Good. Okay, so a lot of that stuff's aside. So yeah, Mike, the copium I think is hitting Disney hard here. It's hitting the media hard. It's hitting everybody hard because, as I was saying, as you come in, the points we were making over there on Pro's show was that they're failing, right? Like now they can't even hide behind, it's still made almost $1 billion or whatever to where they can keep going with this nonsense. They've hit the brick wall now. Little Mermaid, The Flash, this movie, Elemental, they're all kind of showing that the audience is not going to keep showing up to your crap.
Right. And what they're going to do is they're going to focus on as we've seen in one of these articles, actually several. In fact, I just saw it on a Bloomberg Financial Post article, which really made me laugh, that there's actually some in the financial investor markets that are trying to run screens for Disney, focusing on the fact that this movie, the current worldwide box office, and it's been open a week. We got to remember that the opening day was Wednesday of last week, Tom. Wednesday of last week. That's when people first saw Indiana Jones internationally, and then of course domestically starting Thursday. We're at 158 million, and of course we know from our analysis, what Hollywood and they're going to try to do is to say, well, look, it's already halfway towards its budget, but we don't do that here at Midnight's Edge After Dark or at Midnight's Edge, Tom, because we are smarty pants. We're smarter than that, aren't we, Tom? And we actually know our numbers.
We like to think so.
And so, if we take their domestic and international box office and apply the 60-40% split as to what the studios might get, right now Disney with a 40% international and a 60% domestic would be looking at about a current take after the first week of 81,474,000. Now, we know that the production budget has to be at least $350,000. Of course, it's been published at $300,000, but we know that was the same number before the.
And that's even being generous, Mikey, because as we're learning now, The Force Awakens cost $533 million to make.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. And what we've
Ant-Man
got,
and the Wasp cost over 300 million to make.
yes, sir.
Continue, sorry.
Because what happens is that the budget that originally was approved for this feature film was 300, but you've got new invoices coming in as this thing got closer to release date with the reshoots and post production and other types of bills and invoices that come in. We know from a marketing standpoint that that's probably been tailored back. I had this previously at 150 million. I still think it's close to that, but let's just go with 110 for now. That gives us a total cost of 460 million. So right now, the hole that Disney's in is 460. If I put in the 81 million they've collected, which is net of the theater and distribution split, we are currently at a hole. I say we being Lucasfilm, at a hole of 378,525,000, and that's being conservative, I think. And their break evens not till the global box office gets to 920 million do they have a rat's ass shots in hell of actually making $1 net profit. Because it doesn't matter. It's like if you have a paper route, it doesn't matter if you get $100 a week if you're spending $125 at the arcade. You're still losing money each week. And
Kind of like my kid, I keep telling him you're overspending your fucking self.
yeah.
So
So right
you
now,
tell me.
after what I try to tell you, Tom, I try to tell you, but right now, after the first week, we're currently in a hole of $378 million. It's shocking, Tom. It's shocking.
And I think that's being on the conservative side. I'll be 100% honest with you.
Is this the death of the $100 million plus movie?
Actually,
It's a great question.
I have to address that. It's no longer $100 million. You can't. None of these are $100 million movies. Scribe,
100 million plus. 100 million plus.
They're all 200 million plus now. That's
okay, true enough.
That's the thing is 200 or 250 million is becoming the average price for these movies, and I gotta imagine inflation is not gonna help this matter. And I think you are right to answer your question though, because that's where Hollywood needs to sit back and assess this. Look, the producers for a long time, and if Script Doctor was here, he'd tell you the same thing. They've been wanting to get away from these bloated superhero movies for a long time because they're infecting not just this idea that you can make a bunch of these movies, but you barely make a profit off them, right? That's not a good business model. When it costs you $250 to $300 million to make one of these movies, and you're only bringing in $600, $700, $800 million at the box office and barely breaking even, if you're lucky, that's not a good business model to have. And they're making all these other movies have to compete, right? So it's not just superhero movies, and I brought this up a few times, where it's, the action movies, the sci-fi movies, everything else has to now compete with that. So they also have 200 something. Why do you think Tom Cruise is jumping over a freaking canyon? Because he has to do something to compete with this stuff. And he just has to keep, amping it up more and more and more, just like everybody else does. The only ones who can manage to still make movies and make a profit and not spend a fortune is horror. And that's about it.
Yep.
Even movies like Bros are way over budget. A lot of these rom-coms and
Bros. I can't believe we're living in a world where Bros is way over budget. But
it was. Right. I mean, there's no excuse as to why that movie cost, what was it, $30 million or whatever it was to make, or more than that? It was more than that.
That should have been $5
It was way
million.
more than that. Yeah, maybe 10, 15 tops. Like if you can't make a comedy for 10, 15 million, then there's something wrong. Then your comedy should have some aliens or some other goofy special effects in it or something, because at this point I don't understand where they're spending this money. But yeah, Deadpool and these other movies have taught us that you can't spend less than $100 million on these movies, and now like I argue it's more like 200 with inflation and everything else because of the overhead you have, right? And even the Spider-Verse movie, which isn't even a live action movie, is in the sequel's in jeopardy as far as its release date, because they lost like 100 and some animators. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get an animation strike or something at some point here, however they work special effects crews, because that's another thing that's coming to a head, right? You have all these people that are being overworked and underpaid, and the amount of money that they're putting towards these is not enough to make it. And when you're not making that much money at the box office, what are you supposed to do?
And then of course we had Sound of Freedom, which cost like $15-20 million to make, and it's made back practically its entire opening or its entire budget with its opening day, which of course is an anomaly. And the backstory to that, which Midnight Jed's put out today, I just found absolutely. I was laughing. I was just laughing out loud when I heard about the history of that movie. but you can do
Right.
smaller films if they're good. This is the thing that seems to have been lost in all this. It's all. I feel like, I know this is a weird kind of comparison, but I feel like a kid again when everybody around me was going nuts over, oh my God, did you get the new Nintendo 64? Look at all the graphics. And I'm like, the graphics they're nice, but you know, the gameplay of Legend of Zelda, the first one, is still great, and I can have fun with that. I don't need graphics to have a good time if the base gameplay is good. And that's what I feel like movies these days. It's like they're big, they're loud, they're flashy, but there's nothing there. There's no heart, there's no creativity, there's nothing memorable about them. I walk out of the theater and it just floats away like smoke. We could have better stuff. Why don't we have better stuff?
Well, have you seen Sound of Freedom yet?
I have not, no.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal movie, and you bring up a great point, because if we look at the takes from the last 2 days it's been open, which is domestically, it's already brought back 10.9 million. It had, I think Paulie put up 45, but I think he meant 14.5 million as the production budget. This film will break even and make money within 3 days, even net of its studio split and theater distribution split, which is just astounding. Like, it's going to break even by Friday but literally by tomorrow afternoon or Saturday morning, it's going to break even and start to make money. There is no alternative.
And we don't even know what they paid to get this. Disney might have even lost money on this movie.
We know what the rights cost.
I mean, okay,
they had a $5 million GoFundMe.
We don't know. Was that the entire amount, or I thought the studio might have put some money up for it too?
Yes, they put some money in, and they needed another 5.
Well, I don't know the exact amount. If you know it, please tell me, because I know the amount of money this movie cost, which was 14 million.
Right.
And I would imagine they would have wanted at least a profit on it, but from what I understood, they actually sold it at a loss.
Right. So this movie, Disney could have had the number 1 and the number 2 movie and actually had a movie that made money, because this movie, there's no way this movie is going to make itself back. They haven't hit the weekend yet. They opened on a Tuesday, for God's sake, on 4th of July. And here's the thing. If someone would have told me on a previous Mead show that Sound of Freedom would beat out Indiana Jones on the 4th of July, And what's even more stark and dramatic, Thomas, think about this. Indiana Jones opened on Wednesday. This is 4th of July weekend. People could have seen Indiana Jones Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because almost nobody went to school or work on Monday either, or the actual holiday Tuesday. Yet, no one did, and they're still at only 158 million, and that's why this Disney company. And Tom, I think your point is well said. I find it incredibly ironic that Disney as a company, through Fox Studios, did not release this movie with this subject matter. I love this movie. It is the best movie theatrical experience I've had, and I do not know how long. I mean,
well, even the trailers get to you. I've seen like 3 trailers now, and each one of them makes my hair stand up, makes me feel emotional, and
it's thrilling. There's parts of it that, you could watch this movie not just for the subject matter. You could watch this movie just as a drama or as an action thriller.
And it looks like it's shot really well, too.
Oh, my God, Tom. That is why I never got bored. Compared to the scenes in Indiana Jones and some other crap I've seen from Marvel put out this past year. Because, I go to everything, right? I go to watch all the movies. It was shot so well. The scene selection, the shot angles, and whoever edited this, Tom, in terms of the audio, as well as layering the music with the scene cutting, it was brilliantly edited. It was masterfully shot, well directed, and edited incredibly well.
And there's this one shot that stands out to me in just one shot. Let me see if I can find the picture here. Because I used it in the video last night, it dropped this morning for you guys, but it's this one here. And you can tell that's all in camera. Like, that's not, I mean, just the way, like, this is just a gorgeously composed shot.
Yes.
With the lighting and the vibrance. Like, yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
So whoever, that's funny you mentioned that, because the set direction throughout the entire movie brings color and vivid life. Now, I've lived and worked in 11 countries around the world, 9 of which were in the Central America and South America. And they capture the essence. I've been to Colombia. I've lived and worked in Colombia. I've been to a lot of these countries that they travel to. And it really just took you there in a very genuine, way. It was so well done. It was so well done, so organic.
It looks like they're showing you both the beauty and the bad side of it too at the same time in this trailer. And I'm just talking about the couple trailers I saw, right?
Yep.
But I mean, and they're pretty, I mean, just what it's setting up in the trailer is pretty powerful. And I mean, again, I'm not going to sit there and pretend that the subject matter is something you're going to have a good time going to see at the theater, right? But this is kind of what I've been saying about when people want to put a message into a movie or make a movie about a message. This is what they used to do, right? Instead of trying to shove it into Star Wars or Ghostbusters or what have you, it used to be, okay, we're going to make a movie about this subject, and that's what it would be, and it'd be a true story or what have you. Like, I don't have a problem with that. As long as I know what I'm getting into. I see Paulie in the chat. Another example of what this reminds me of as far as the cinematography reminds me of Narcos. Which is another example of something that is very politically and historically driven. But guess what? I know what to expect when I step into that.
Well, here's the thing about
you know
this
what you're
movie.
signing up for.
Exactly.
As the father of a 10-year-old, I had a lot of stress going into this movie because I don't want to see anything graphic. But I already committed, so I went. Needless to say, guess what? There's nothing graphic in here. Let me put it to you this way. None of that rocket crap from the Guardians of the Galaxy where you actually saw, an animal being tortured. I mean, we knew Rocket's story, and then James Gunn decided to show it to us. He didn't have to do that. He could have done that movie in another way to get the point across, but he chose to go there. Right? Yeah. That's not what this film does. This film, it's all implied, and what it does is it doesn't insult the audience, and it assumes that you're intelligent enough to read between the lines so that you know exactly what's going on without having to see what happens.
There's more horror to be had in implication and in imagination than actually showing it to you.
Scribe, exactly.
Well, and like I said, just the trailer alone makes me unsettled and what have you. But it's also like one of those things where knowing what it's about and like seeing, Caviezel's character, who's a real guy, what he's doing. It's a very interesting film, and the things, if you know what's going on around it, like I know I'm dancing around a lot of this, guys, but it's a touchy subject on how YouTube works.
I want to see it, so I don't.
And I already did one major rant on it already on Pro's channel, so I don't want to push it too damn much.
No. Look.
But we've got the Jezebel and some of these other people are trying to push this shit the other way, and it's like, how can you even remotely? Like, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm sorry. Fuck it. Go ahead, Mike. While I'm doing that.
Well, what I was going to say is that a lot of times you'll watch a movie like this and you'll think it's kind of documentary, which this is it's a story about something that happened in real life, but it doesn't have that boring documentary feel. And the thing is that it's important. I fully agree with your analysis that this movie has the ability to change the needle in many ways, because we need, within our families, within our communities, within our friendships, within our states and this country, we need to start talking about the things that matter, because if not, we shall not survive another decade or two.
That headline, what the hell is that?
Yeah, as I was waiting for everybody's reaction, because I saw this last night, and the first thing I thought is what I tweeted out. Well, we found the pedo.
Of course. Jeez.
Holy crap. Like, how can you even jump to, and I'm not even going to read this fucking review. It is.
No. Yeah.
It is asinine as the title, to be honest with you. Go ahead, Nick. You're going to say something.
No, this is not the type of person you realize by the headline when you see who's the writer of this. This is not someone who you right off the bat, you cannot reason with in any way. When this is where they are at, where they thinking that anti-child trafficking is another alt-right, right-wing conspiracy theory. Just once again, at what point does anything that you don't like to hear be not that? Like, are you just that afraid of anything that goes against your ideology?
Well, and this is what I was ranting about on Pro's show, is like, this is the line, kids. This is it. Like, you mess with kids, and you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be conservative. You don't have to be any of the things.
For real.
To be like, hold up, time out. You want to do what with kids?
A bit weird.
And then you put a movie out like this and your reaction is, oh, this is an anti-child trafficking fantasy fit for QAnon. What do you mean it's a fucking fantasy? First of all, it's based on a true story. Second of all, what the fuck does QAnon even have to do with any of this shit? If you're going to go for something, go after the Christian element, which you know you can't, because guess what? You're going to get swatted like a little fly. Because from what I'm sure Mikey can back me up on this, from what I've heard most other people, because of the fact that this was a studio-made film to begin with, the religious element is barely even there. The only part, they're milking it for what they can in the trailers with the, God's children are not for sale bit, because that's about all there really is. Other than that, it's not like really into religion, is it, Mike? It's
no, not at all. And so when I've seen this thing about this Christian thing, I'm like, where did that come from?
Well, that's just because of the company that put it out, and that's fine. They can go there because we can knock that down right away. But this,
no, because it stars Jesus.
I know, right? Well, there, that too. Like that doesn't help.
What's the story behind this movie needing a GoFundMe just to get released, though?
CC, I'm glad you asked, because for those who don't know the story behind this, this movie was originally made 5 years ago by 20th Century Fox for roughly $15 million. Okay. And then when Disney acquired Fox, this was one of the many movies that they decided to just shelve. And I'm not saying they did it on purpose, and I'm not saying they tried to bury this film, because when the producers came around saying we'd like to buy the rights to the film, Disney's like, sure. And it may have just been that they were desperate for some cash or some kind of return on something. And since they didn't actually technically produce this came as part of the sale, I'm sure a $5 to $10 million payday for this movie sounded good for them on the books. Well, this company, Angel, went and bought up the distribution rights for it, and they crowdfunded money to help them do that. And these are the kind of companies that they use this, what I call the religious or Christian advertising kind of campaigns. And they don't need normies to go see these movies, because there's the way these campaigns work is they work with a minimum amount of money. There's a lot of word of mouth, passing word of mouth on, religious channels and through churches and other systems like that. And they even have like a pay it forward ticket system where if you can't afford to go see a movie like this, they will pay for your ticket. There's people who will go and donate tickets, and then you go and sign up and get your free tickets. In fact, this Friday, one of the churches bought out a whole screening of this movie for our local cinema.
Where you live in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I shit you not.
Let me tell you what else they know how to do. At the end of the movie, after the credits run, remember that heartfelt message that Tom Cruise gave us before Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a message after the end credits that you get after this movie, and it is awesome. It is so awesome. That heartfelt message. I'm going to show you. I'm going to bring something else up on the screen. I'm going to show you something.
And
else.
I was really.
So I signed up. I'm going to show you this real quick. I signed up for their what's called their ambassador program, which just means that you repost their stuff on Twitter. I got this yesterday. I don't know if you. It's so hard to see. Let me see if I can blow it up here. Let me make it bigger.
Yeah, try a little bit. I can kind of read it. Yeah.
Here, let me do this. Let me go and do this. All right. So I got a text from this, and it says, here, let me widen this out. It says, this is from the production studio to my cell phone. It says, thanks to your help, Sound of Freedom was the #1 movie in America on 4th of July, 2023. I got a freaking thank you text from the studio that put this out.
Well, and I just wanted to say, as far as this,
how cool is that?
This pay it forward system isn't like what Disney had been doing with like Captain Marvel and Black Panther, where they would actually basically pressure these inner city and women's organizations into buying tickets for them. No. This is like you and I. You can actually go to this website and buy like 5-10 tickets. And then somebody who is from like, a low income situation or whatever can go to the website, sign up for free tickets, and they get free tickets. So it's people paying it forward to other people. It's cool. I think it's one of the neatest things I've ever seen. Now that's the kind of thing I wish they would do that more for like kids, like to where, like kids in the summertime who definitely don't have shit to do, where you could buy like movie tickets and stuff like that for kids for the day, where it pays for like a movie ticket and a pizza or something like that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That's incentive right there. Tom, you just came up with an idea. That's
Well,
incentive.
and I mean, theaters, I'm sure, would be glad to host these kind of things.
Well, that's grassroots marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
You just don't see with a big budget corporate movie. So sure, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Sound of Freedom is not the movie you're going to show to kids, but I mean, you know, the idea is,
What the
you know,
equivalent of a
you have this, you know, you have an organization set up where it's all they do is they actually buy tickets each week to specific movies during the week, you know, during the day when it's tough for parents to kind of have, especially younger teenagers and such, where it's tough to find daycare for, and it gives kids something to do. Because I'll tell you right now, that's the one thing that they stopped talking about for years. And I think it's a big problem with why we have so many kids getting into crime now. But, you know, that's a whole nother conversation to be had. But like, yeah, kids not having things to do is one of the worst things ever. Because
TikTok is not the answer.
Ground. No, because all that does is, and look at how susceptible they are to every single stupid idea fucking TikTok gives them.
It'll pack the emergency rooms in a hurry.
But I can't believe we aren't having a bigger epidemic now, because really, I mean, these kids in this generation are being raised by their phones for the most part, instead of actually having, you know, social activities, and they're on social media. It's a problem.
I mean, I'm aging myself a little bit here, but growing up, I went outside, and if I wanted to get together with my friends, I went over to their house and knocked on their door, because that's how you contacted people.
Right.
What, maybe you picked up the old like plug into the wall phone. But no, but like, you know, you actually had to contact people. You had to go places. What? You know, you couldn't just pick up the phone and text them.
War Monkey.
What is this?
Imagine that, right?
What do you say, Mikey? Go ahead.
War Monkey, I love this comment. It says, here's a situation where people are buying other people's tickets, unlike these studios that buy them to pad their numbers when they want to pretend they are more popular than they really
what I'm talking about.
are.
Yeah.
Yep, because they basically pressured these organizations into doing it, or these organizations did it on their behalf, or whatever you want to say. But yeah. But yeah, and this is an interesting article here that Scribelight also brought up, and this is kind of what I was getting at and goes right along with it. You know, Disney's harsh new reality, costly film flops, creative struggles, and shrinking global box office. Now, did you want to read the whole article here, Scribe, or did you want to just key in on certain elements?
Well, there was. Let me find it real quick. There was one quote out of.
I think you said it was near the end.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Because I mean, yeah, this thing is full of excuses for Disney, but still, yeah, the irony of ironies is, I think you wanted to point out.
Let me find it real quick, because there was one part on here that I found very bizarre. Where is it here?
Well, the other thing about this article,
yeah, I found it. But okay, so it's I can't give you the exact location, obviously, but it says. Quote, Disney desperately needs to create something new, Spiegel says. Quote, it does a good job at cannibalizing itself. They remake their movies and echo what they've done in the past. At a certain point, there won't be a lot for them to echo, unquote. And I just thought to myself, when I saw that quote, and he's got a point as far as the recycling part, but the problem is that they're not doing, they should be doing something new, but they're not. What they're doing new is they're taking legacy properties and injecting their own ideas and stupidity into them. So they're doing something new. What they're not doing is respecting the properties that they own and respecting the legacy of those properties. They need to hearken back to what made those things good in the first place, but instead they see them as platforms for their ideas, not for the ideas that made them worthwhile in the first place, not for the ideas that made them valuable enough to pay billions of dollars for the properties. Instead, it's like, oh, now we have a vehicle for what we want to do. And they have failed at every single attempt, at least artistically. Like I said before, you can look at the box office and try to make yourself feel better. Like, oh, well, we made a couple of $1 billion off of a piece of garbage. That must mean garbage is good. But ultimately, those things are not going to last. They're not going to stand the test of time. And they're not going to be thought of as lovingly as something that actually respected the property and respected the fans as well. And so, yeah, this critic is sort of half right, but he's ignoring what the real problem is with what Disney has done, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I snickered a little bit when we first got into this here before you got going there, but it's true though. Like in this article, it's a lot of finally coming around to some of the things that we've been saying for God knows how long now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and such. So I mean, we got to kind of encourage that, I guess. But no, you're hitting the nail on the head. That's part of the problem. And now the studios are starting to realize that. And I think that, we finally got the raid. I thought we already had one, but I guess welcome to all those people who are joining us.
Hey. Wow.
Thank you for coming. Hit that like button. And we're just getting into this discussion that Scribe brought in here. And this is also going along with the excuses being made for Disney and other studios right now. But at the same time, you're right. They have to find the answer. They have to figure out what is wrong. And I guess the question is, will they ever figure out what's wrong specifically?
Well, I mean, especially with like this article here is evidence to me of this long road to Damascus that the print media, the mainstream media has finally come to. It's like, oh yeah, well, I guess Disney's doing something wrong. Which, like you say, we've been talking about this since Captain Marvel. I mean, since Captain Marvel and forward, basically is where like as far as the Marvel situation went, as far as the tone started shifting dramatically towards ideological messaging and everything else when it came to Disney. This just shows the impotency and the cowardice of the Hollywood media machine in finally in saying the emperor has no clothes. And I mean, it's nice that they're finally getting around to it, but if they'd been more critical, if they'd been more honest 10 years ago, then maybe something would be different. I don't know. It's you can't turn back unless I had the dial of destiny, but otherwise.
Ooh, that's a good point. Well, we'll come back to that in just a moment. But Nick has to be leaving us. He's going to the ET phone home with his kids, and I can't. I'm excited for you. I really am. I hope they enjoy it.
I'll let you know how
what
it
they think.
I will. You will trust me because it's nice that I've been getting them into movies and actually understanding them and the art of it and liking old movies. So this is the next big step because they've seen Jurassic Park, they love it. So it's like now we get to show them another great one. So,
well, if they're like, Dad, it sucked, be like, ouch.
No, hey, thanks for having me, Tom. Once again, great to meet you, Scribe Light. I like what I'm hearing from you. Hopefully one day our paths will cross again. Chat, have a great night. I'll probably show up late tonight on TNT. Until then, I do have a channel, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. Memberships are coming. Yes, they're going to come. I promise.
They're going to come.
I previewed on my Twitter what a possible bottle opener looks like, and stickers will become with those memberships for certain tiers. And Toxic Tuesday, Invasion USA, and Comic Shop Talk tomorrow night. So thank you for having me, chat. And have a great night, and I'll see some of you tonight on TNT. Thanks, Tom.
Have fun.
All right, buddy.
All right. So Scribe, as you were saying here, they're gonna have to cope. Basically, and they're gonna have to come up with ways to fix this mess. Mikey, what do you think that the first thing they're gonna have to do, or what would you do, or how would you approach this after all that's come about here in the last few weeks, or not?
Well, what would I do? I think I would collapse Pixar and Disney Studios, Disney Animation. I would collapse those two together to save money. I would bring back Judd Lasseter and beg him to do a joint venture, and I would move from creating our own content to partnering up with outstanding creators that know how to make money and releasing and distributing things like that. I would also reopen the vault and revive old characters to bring some life into the theme parks. Yeah, that's what I would do. And I would put Lucasfilm on a fucking moratorium because it's a fucking dumpster shit show right now.
Do you think the egos at the studio could make that sort of admission of failure, though? Admission that they were wrong at this point?
Absolutely not. One thing I've learned about having a production accounting office in Hollywood and meeting these morons is that they never can admit that they're wrong. It's always something else. That's why it's so easy to blame us. That's why for them it's easy. It can never be them. It just can't be.
So what do you think they're gonna?
Song of the South. My mom is my mom's from Texas, Mexico. Like she worked on a farm. Like she pulled tomatoes and cotton out of the ground. Right. Song of the South was her favorite movie till the day she died.
Save us, Uncle Remus.
This isn't a joke. I'm being dead serious. My mom in Texas and New Mexico pulled cotton and tomatoes out of the ground. Song of the South was her favorite movie.
Well, and Mike, I mean, so how, I kind of came to you first because now that you said that part, how do you think that the next earnings call is going to go, or the shareholder? Which one's next? I can't remember which is next. But
the annual shareholder call that's open to people like me, which, by the way, I am finagling to make my way onto the list. I'm working on it. I got to connect. But these are institutional investor calls. August 9th is the big day. It is going to be popcorn and soda pop. I think one or two. Here's the thing about these investors. They have to ask questions, and there's only so long that they can go with asking softball questions. And if we notice the last two calls, the prior one with the retail shareholders, people like you and me and Joe, Joe Main Street America, and then the last one with institutions, they didn't go so hot. And back then, there were less problems. We've now entered into a phase where we now have a year's worth, trailing 12 months of massive box office losses. And the thing about the box office is that the results speak for themselves, and there's been so many bombs that they've got to stack up. Park attendance numbers will be adjusted by August. They're going to already know. I mean, for as far as Disney goes, everybody that wanted to go in the summer is pretty much done by August 15th. Kids start going back to school the first week in August. So whatever they've done, they've done. They had a bunch of promos at park attendance, and if their park attendance numbers aren't good, that's not going to be good for them. And we know that operationally in Disney Plus. So I want to hear three questions. Question number one, Bob, if it were me, how are we going to take care of this Hulu financing that's 3 to 6 months away? Bob, what are we going to do to get our studios so that we can restore the position to being the most profitable and highest grossing studios? How do we do that, Bob? And number three, Bob, we've got $13 billion lost in Disney Plus. When is that going to turn a profit? And what are our growth numbers going to be? And if we're done growing and our churn is what it is, what are we going to do to make this business unit into profit? And how are we going to turn that loss into profit? And what quarter will that happen? All of those three questions lead up to the real question that will be asked no later, if not in August, then 3 months after that, which is this. Bob Iger, when he took the reins, he said by the end of 2024, he would be looking to make a dividend. If that mofo does not announce a dividend and pay out something by December, then I'm going to laugh and watch to see if he's actually going to get his contract extension that he wants.
Yeah, because we brought that up on, or actually that was brought up by Pro on the previous stream here I was just on. And yeah, I'm not surprised considering, and I gave my reasoning was with Christine McCarthy stepping down with the way things are. It doesn't sound like this Dana Waldron or whatever her name is shaping up to be the next person in line. So Bob, I think, is going to use this excuse and opportunity to say, look, what else have you got to lose with me? You know, kind of thing. Give me another year or two to kind of right this ship. You know, you've got no better choice. And I mean, honestly, a lot of the people, I can see them buying into this bullshit. Because what other choice do you have outside of finding somebody outside of the company at this point? And I agree with Mike, like on his assessment earlier on. Because I mean, unless you want to get more into like the micro side of it, like Disney needs to completely overhaul what they're doing. Like I would totally stop anything going forward and reassess everything that's being done. Now, I don't think Lasseter, you could ever get him back. I think that's a train that has sailed at this point. I think that the ship has left the station. And yes, I meant to muck up both of those lines on purpose. But it's just a matter of, look, he's gone. You have had so much animosity between him and that company for so many years in so many ways. Yeah, Bob was the one who kind of brought him back into the fold after Pixar was like peace out before, after the whole, you know,
hugging thing.
Well, yeah, with Eisner and Pixar and their fallout. He was the one who kind of repaired that bridge. But I think that's just his last shot. I don't think Lasseter is going to come back after all that nonsense. So I think that they need to find somebody new who can, and I agree with you, you're going to just combine it all into Disney Animation. They need to reinvigorate their animation studio somehow. And it ain't with, you know, making sequels to all their most famous shit. They need to come up with something new.
It can't just be the CEO though, because as we saw with Chapek, the inmates are running the asylum. It really doesn't matter who you put up at the top. If everybody, yeah, like you said, it has to be a total and absolute overhaul. It has to be a complete. From
top to bottom.
You have to pull the lever on the culture casino to put a little bit of fun on it, because there's it's endemic.
Where is he?
The problem in Disney right now, it's the whole ideological thrust, all the plans in place, all the thoughts of what's good and what's not, especially the standards of what counts as a quality producer, showrunner, writer, and so on are so skewed into La La Land that really you need to bring somebody in who not only can, will, but also has the power to make the changes necessary, and that's going to need the backing of the shareholders, because they can't. The Hollywood insiders guys, they're not going to do it themselves because they want to be able to still go to their cocktail parties with all the people that they have underneath them. So I don't know. It's going to have to, something really major would have to happen there to see any real change, I think. Didn't mean to kill the conversation.
All right. No. I was waiting for Mike to actually chime in on that.
No, I will. What do you want me to What do you want me to say?
I
agree with him. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with what he just said.
Well, and I'm going to address this. I may be an Echo fan, Flash, but you're a fan of Godzilla 98.
Oh no!
What?
He isn't.
No, he's
That's
not.
A low blow. That's
yes,
a low
he
blow.
is. He totally
Flash
is.
is not. Yellow Flash.
A source has told me.
Wait, the great Yellow Flash. Flash.
No way. Come on.
No.
That's the ongoing joke, of course.
That's defamation.
That's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish.
Echo, you mean like the new TV show, the wonderful new TV show coming out?
Yeah, the one that they're dropping all at once that they were thinking about actually writing off, I guess, from what we had learned. But yeah.
Will there be visuals or just, and then we're going to be listening to the show?
My theory is they drop it all at once. Yep. And then they take the opening numbers for the first two episodes or whatever, and they call it the most watched Disney Plus series of 2023. Wow. And they just take the numbers in aggregate and apply it to the whole thing, since they drop it once without doing a weekly release. That's my theory.
Wow. My theory is even I won't watch it.
Yeah, there's that.
and I've been sitting through Suckward Invasion for some reason.
Oh God, why?
I've been hearing nothing but bad things.
I hate myself. That's all there is to it. And I mean, so the only answer. Yes.
I don't know. You're the first person I met that's watching it. I'm in shock, Clobby. Yeah,
I've talked to maybe three other people that have admitted to watching it. At least we'll admit it. But yeah, no, I shouldn't be admitting it. I take it back. I lied to everybody. I'm not watching it.
Spoil me in the private chat. Tell me who the major character was that died. I don't want to see the show. I don't care. No. Somebody said a major character died this last episode.
All over Twitter.
Yeah. That was the first episode.
Whatever. Who
I'll
cares?
tell you. I'll tell you in the chat.
Yeah, I just want to know who's not going to show up ever again. But let's get into some of these super chats here. We've got Why It's So Serious, who's now a member. I like his picture of Homer there getting food licked off his belly from Santa's Little Helper. I remember when The Simpsons were amazing. We got this
with a rag on a stick.
I wouldn't call him Major, the character Major either. Someone else just blurted it out in the chat anyway. But yeah.
And then we've got. Didn't that already happen?
What? No.
Wait a minute. What you just said? Oh, never mind. I was thinking of somebody else. Never mind. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
She's not a major character.
No, not really. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Scribbles is here. My worlds collide. Oh, yeah. Scribe Light and I've crossed paths a couple times now.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Tickle Trunk. And hey, anybody else who's over from the Discord server otherwise.
Hey,
how you doing?
Good old Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Glad to have you here. Yeah, well, Mr. T is always here, but yeah.
Yes.
Glade Ribbon says, too much CGI, especially where you don't need it. Exactly. We had this conversation a couple times in the last few weeks. Truth Hope Love says, if people are smart, Sound of Freedom should sweep the Oscars. I don't think it will.
In that case,
I think it hits too close to home.
It won't even get a nomination at all. I think no way.
Because as I point out time and time again, they point out in this movie, and it's in most of the trailers, and I think they have that whole Henry Cavill thing at the end of one of the trailers. It's like a 2-minute thing where he's talking about how child trafficking is quickly becoming the number one black market trade over guns and drugs.
Yep.
And all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and he talks about it in there. just think about it for a minute. Who are some of the most rich motherfuckers in the world, and who the hell do you think can afford to buy a person? Right?
Yeah, I wonder.
Sure as hell ain't going to be any of the people at the Oscars who are going to want to be shining a light on this movie. It's
Smoking hot ladies in the chat. Mexican Iron Man is not. You cannot buy my love, but you can sure rent it for the night. Thank you.
It's a fat cop.
He's a gigolo. He's just a gigolo.
And everywhere I go.
Hey, Rob, what's up, buddy? Great friends.
Life goes on without me. That's the only part that don't fit Mikey, because if like Mikey was gone, everything would come to a dead halt on YouTube. Even though he claims he's not a YouTuber.
I don't even have no. What are
you are so don't even laugh, because you know damn well if something were to happen to you, it would be like this spreading fire, like Mexican Iron Man. This happened. He needs help, or yeah, something. Yeah, no, fuck, whatever.
Wait. Is Mexican Iron Man a Nexus being?
What
is he a what?
Is Mexican Iron Man a Nexus being for YouTube?
Yes. As much as he tries to claim he is not a YouTuber, he's so interconnected with so many YouTubers and their livelihoods and their well-beings and everything else that if he were to fall off the face of the earth for too long, people would panic.
He's the keystone. He's the shatter point. Oh my gosh.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
You are the heart of the internet.
You guys are being too kind. Next super chat. You're making me uncomfortable now.
Troy Neenan says it is almost like a low budget and not. And listen to this motherfucker. I text him half time. How you doing, sexy? He's like, you're making me feel uncomfortable. It's like, oh, I can text you like that all the time. If he had a girlfriend, his women would be like, who the fuck you texted? Who this bitch? I don't believe their name is Tom. It's more like Tamika, I bet. If you call me up, you're like, who the fuck is this? Oh, you could try to get your voice down all low and shit. No, seriously, I'm a man, lady.
It's funny you say that. I had a girlfriend who lived. I had a girlfriend from Atlanta named Tamika. It's funny you mentioned that name.
I can see it happening.
Yeah, I met her
all the time.
She was working at the front.
I'm gonna start calling you Beefcake next.
At the Hilton that I checked in at. She was working at the Hilton at the front desk that I checked in at, and I managed to convert her. She's like, I'm not supposed to date guests. We were out that next night.
Like, I won't be a guest no more. That's Mikey for you.
That was a great weekend.
Then we got your Muslim uncle who says, hey, Kathy, leave us kids alone. That's right. Scott Westbrook's in the house. How you doing, Scott? Says a few coins to thank you for continuing to do what Mead does. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And there's over 1,000 of you guys watching. That's amazing. Please hit that like button. I appreciate that, as do we all. Truth Hope Love says a guy said to read comments on Jezebel. Oh, well, we can do that. Let's see. I can only imagine. Hopefully they won't get us in trouble, but yeah.
Let's see. I read those comments. They're pretty fascinating.
Are they fascinating? Well, I guess that's
the word I'm going to use.
That's the word you're going to use?
Yeah.
102 comments. Wow. Well, I did share this out, so I'm sure I got a few people on there. I'm sorry to hear Jim Caviezel is nuttier than a squirrel shit. I like the person of interest. I'll consider. Okay, that's somebody who's... Why are they at the top? I mean, really, that guy had some good stuff. But when Trump came along, you went crazy. Okay, no need to be sorry. Just point and laugh at the clown.
Pot kettle black.
Yeah. If these turds are concerned about trafficked and sexually abused kids, go visit any Christian fund. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure I really want to check into these. Ugh. Who?
Nuts.
I told you they were weird.
Idiots.
What?
Shockers.
Okay, guys. Like, yeah, I love it that, they're the conspiracy theorists. You can tell who reads this crap.
Going down the rabbit hole.
Wow.
Bet we know who they voted for.
Wow. I have a feeling they're not. Are they approving comments on this thing? Because this seems like the minority is getting through.
But it is Jezebel, so
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I was more expecting
nothing surprising about that. Right?
Yeah, that's just a bunch of pedos, I guess. Truth Hope Love says a guy said read the comment. Okay, we got that twice. Did you send that twice, Truth Hope Love? I don't know if you meant to. Saw Passion of the Christ in the cinema at age 10, says Truth Hope Love, and Starship Troopers and Matrix even younger. Yeah, I mean, again, I leave it up to folks but I mean, the subject matter of the movie is a bit. Although it may not be a bad thing for kids to see something like this, but you got to make sure they're ready for it. It's not a subject matter you can just take a kid to. But and then Mega Reacts sends in $4.20. Thank you so much. Here in the Steadfast says, just finished rewatching Lord of the Rings trilogy. CGI holds up. There's very little CGI actually in that movie outside of the crowd shots and such. A few iffy moments. The Balrog still looks like me. Yeah, the Balrog's all CGI. But yeah. What's your first thought? Says, I feel the biggest problem for Disney is instead of a pot of creativity, they have a cauldron of foulness. Yeah, that's good. And an absence of substance. Absolutely. So they throw out this venom, they will fall. Yeah. And to finish my thought from before, yeah, I agree with you guys too. Reopen the vault or make the vault a thing. And I don't know why they didn't continue the vault on Disney Plus. That would have made it worth more. And yeah, I just see this as one of those situations where I don't know if Disney can bounce back from this very easily. They have to make a lot of moves in a right direction and really clean up their act, because they're not being seen as most family friendly of businesses anymore.
You know, they're infected like termites infect an older house, and the biggest fight isn't even so much finding a vision for new creative direction. The fact is, they're infested. This company is infested with woke garbage people that are just sucking the life out of it from within. And it is when you have a company where you're fighting battles without and within, I don't know if that's something that survives. Disney may not, as a corporation, you know, we talk about it being too big to fail. And what I'm going to say is this: will it fail today? Maybe not. But I'm going to tell you this: there's a lot of companies that we thought were built to last that weren't. And once Universal gets its new theme park online, and if Universal stays the track that it's going, from media to its streaming to its through its theme parks and its cinematic releases, Disney may not survive this war in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm okay with that at this point, because frankly, if they don't want to give me anything that I can be proud of to show my son as a father, then F this company.
Yeah. Just another red shirt's in the house. How you doing, buddy? Says, if Mexican Iron Man disappeared, there would be a great disturbance in the Schwartz. Yes, there would be. Absolutely. And we're about to lose Scribe Light here soon, so I want to grab this this other story quick before you go, that is, anyway.
Oh, I appreciate it.
The Blue Beetle director. Are you a fan of the Blue Beetle at all?
I am aware of the character.
Okay, well, the Blue Beetle director had to kind of apologize for going after fans, I guess.
Oh.
I don't know if you heard about this. Blue Beetle director completely changes tune, asks moviegoers to give film a chance. After mocking them over Batman's a fascist line. Now, I almost earned like a I fucking knew it moment from this article, because he basically says that George Lopez's character, Uncle Rudy or whatever, he's just got a thing against superheroes in general. So he's got a thing against all of them. That was what I had set up as an idea of what that's probably the character's gimmick.
Right. It's out of context, but it just doesn't belong in the trailer.
Exactly. But he, the director, unfortunately, stuck his foot in his mouth, I guess, in a way or shape or form. In the first trailer, it ended with George Lopez saying the whole Batman is a fascist line. We talked about that. Numerous individuals took exception to the line, like YouTuber Ryan Canal, criticizing it, saying at the end, Batman is a fascist and pandering to these stupid fucking 20-year-old free profile picture, she, them, don't know your fucking gender is, don't buy comics, don't have money to go to movies. That's who fucking this shit is pandering to. Yeah. So on that note, Kinnell's criticism would be shared to Twitter by CBM movie fan, who wrote, George Lopez saying Batman is a fascist has this MF riled up. The user added, I need more lines like that from the movie if they're freaking out like this. And then Soto, who I believe is the director, replied, like laughing emojis, and Skeletor saying, well, my job's done. Soto would use similar GIF in response to another user pointing out as certain people were upset about the conclusion of the Batman as a fascist line in the trailer, Instead of Skeletor, he used one of the President Barack Obama dropping a microphone. Captioned it again, my job is done here.
And then he saw the Flash returns. And he's like, oh no, I need to get as much audience as I can.
Yeah.
Somebody got taken to the woodshed.
And then in an interview recently with Movie Maker, Soto is asking fans to give him and the film a chance. He says, first he attempted to. We always wanted to have fun with the way Rudy talks about other superheroes. See, continues, so to the people that got mad at us, give us a chance. We're trying to have fun with the characters that we love, and everybody in our movies loves Batman and Superman and Flash. And of course, we have criticisms. Yep, and that's exactly what I said too. And we have criticisms about all of them, as we should. Soto added, but that doesn't mean we hate Batman. We love Batman. Well, you're also not saying that you don't think that Batman's a fascist at the same time.
Yeah.
The film star Jolo Maraduena, I can never say his name right. I apologize, Paulie. Also shared his thoughts on the criticism to Lopez's character describing Batman as a fascist. As F that. He elaborated, maybe Jaime and the audience don't agree with Rudy, but you're allowed to have your opinion. That's okay. So yeah, Rudy, I think that's part of his shtick. I'm sure he'll say something stupid about Superman. He's like, he's an alien, an illegal alien, something like that. And then, Wonder Woman,
That's why you just don't put a lightning rod like that in your trailer. If it's in the movie in context, and people won't care if the character's just a Looney Tune saying stupid shite, and they're enjoying the movie, they won't care. Why would you put something so stupid to put that in the trailer?
But yeah, so Scribe, before you leave here, what's your reaction to the director walking back his mocking?
Well, obviously, I would have thought that if you wanted to have that line land better, you'd have something earlier in the trailer that shows that Uncle Rudy has antipathy towards superheroes, especially like, the kid gets the suit and he says something aside or something. That would give it some context. But that aside, yeah, the director unfortunately got all up on himself before The Flash came out and when James Gunn was saying this is the best movie I've ever seen, and he's probably getting high on that. And then he sees the Flash numbers, sees the reaction, and now at the 11th hour, because when does this movie come out? Within the next couple of months?
End of
August.
Yeah. So in the lead up to the end all be all of how this movie's going to perform, especially a movie that, as far as I understand it, is still a part of a effectively lame duck defunct timeline of DC movies. It's not going to be unless they decide at the last minute to change something because they have some read on it. It's not going to be included in the post Superman legacy.
Well, all James has said is that this character is the first character in his new universe, but this movie, he said Superman is the first movie.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of a way of saying, this character could come back, but don't expect this to be canon.
Yeah, the director sees the writing on the wall with the Flash, and maybe, I don't know when exactly he made these comments, but fan reaction to Indiana Jones, you need to get all the fans on your side and not try to divide and conquer and act like a jerkwad, because especially at this point, you need all the box office you can get if you hope to have further work for Warner's and DC. And especially if you want your movie to do well. And again, this is one of those things where it's like I said before, it's nice that they're learning these lessons. It's a shame it took them this long to get outside of their own heads and their own cowardice about it, though.
Well, I don't know when these original tweets were made. That's why I was flashing around here. I was trying to see if I could click on them. But the interview that they pull this from is from July 5th. So the interview's rather new.
Okay.
I don't know when the comments were actually initially made, though. I can't answer that. But no, and I mean, that's the thing, is like his way of going around this is like, I think you're right. I think that they're kind of seeing the writing on the wall here a little bit, and he knew he had to kind of clean up this mess, mop it up a little bit, what have you, however you want to say it, as far as, mocking people a little bit and seeing the reactions to The Flash and a few other recent films. Because, it would have worked better. It would have landed better in the trailer had you said, like I said, had some line about, Superman being an illegal alien, and the kind of irony of that and the whole joke of that behind that. And then him saying, I don't see what's so special about the Flash. He runs fast. I can't even get a pizza in under 30 minutes still. Maybe he wants to impress me. He'll get a job at the pizza place or something like, you know what I mean? Like some joke like that. And then you just keep carrying that joke through the trailer. Then the Batman as a fascist line, people could actually laugh at it because we understand that this character is just ridiculous in his complaints and his feelings on superheroes. Right. And then the irony of ironies is now his nephew's one of them. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, real quick, what I want to see again, and I know this is, I'm not this old, I swear to God, but what I want to see from directors again at some point is a William Castle kind of attitude, where it's like you're not antagonistic towards your audience, you invite them in. If a trailer was only just the director sitting in a chair saying, hey, I'm making this movie about this cool thing. It's really cool. It's going to be cool. I think you'll think it's cool. Come and see it with me. It's cool. If it was something like that, I'd have more respect for the director just for moxie over whatever the product was at the beginning.
Oh, that's pretty much Deadpool right now. That's
Exactly. Right. Ryan Reynolds is probably the best pitch man for anything ever because he, at least on the surface, actually believes in what he's doing and delivers something that people are entertained by. And you know that he loves doing it. That's the other part. He loves the audience and he invites you in. He doesn't try to gatekeep you on whether or not you. Anyway, I could go on, but.
No, you're 100% right. And I mean, those are some of the more memorable, like that's how Alfred Hitchcock used to sell his movies, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was all him just saying, here you see, well, the crime took place, you know, and he's like doing his whole thing. And he's like, oh dear. He's got like this little tongue-in-cheek humor about the whole thing. And, you know, I love his trailers. It's the same kind of thing. And I'm not saying they all should be that way, but you're right. It's this idea that you selling this movie and to who? You know, Ryan's not wrong. Who the fuck are you selling that to?
Yeah, you want to bring the audiences to make them part of the experience. You don't want to start setting up blockades between who is and who is not a legitimate fan of this thing or that or the other. Henry Cavill said it best in that one interview about The Witcher where he's talking about fans and like the interviewer's trying to get him to say toxic fandom and everything else. And he's like, no, fans have the right to criticize and everything else because you respect the fact that they're fans first and foremost. They're coming to it at a place of passion and love. And so that's how you have to treat your audience and conceivably the people who are paying your bills. But either way, guys, I got to split. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here.
No, thanks for coming in, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah. For anybody interested, I don't know how much longer you're going. Don't want to step on any toes or nothing. About 15 minutes, top of the hour, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I've got a series I do on my channel called TED Excellence, where I take a look at TEDx talks for fun and edutainment. So if you're interested in that kind of thing or find that interesting, go check it out. It'll be up in about 15 and I'll be live then.
Awesome. I don't think we'll be going too much longer than that. So yeah.
Good to meet you.
It's so nice to be on here. Thanks, Tom, for having me on.
Check
Mike,
out
nice
Scribe.
Yeah, CC, Clobber, Nick, I know you're gone now. And guys, I hope you have a good rest of the day and I hope to talk to you soon.
Subscribe. Thanks.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right. So yeah, what's your guys' reaction to all this? I wanted to give Scribe kind of a chance to put his 2 cents in. Clobby, what's your reaction to the director kind of backtracking on his comments?
Well, I think somebody got taken to the woodshed, obviously, and said, when all this bad press, it's such an uphill climb for a character like this, who is very much new to most of the audience, most of the public. Why make it even more difficult as to put that line in the trailer was moronic. Because like I said, watching the movie, if the character's wacky and he says wacky, something like that, in the context, nobody would probably care. They might just laugh at it. But you don't know that. So you put it's inflammatory seeing it out of context. A lot of people don't like this kind of crap, especially in the age we live in when we got, so many people making films that are antagonistic towards fan groups. So I think they started to look at a lot of the things going on. I think it's already been said here that they started to see this kind of the backlash is happening. That went up with the Flash and others, and they said, "Look, you know what? Still a little damage control. We got about a month or so before this movie comes out. We would like to see it do okay. People give it a chance. Nobody wants to give it a chance if you start putting, offensive crap like that in your trailers. So get out there and then you go out there and antagonize people even more on the internet. Director of the movie, that's not smart. Cut it out. Let's go and try to clean this up. See if we can get people to give the movie a chance."
No, that's a great point, and I think that's a good way of saying, and what Paulie's saying here too. Let show us shine should be a blast. Yeah. In a world where you're going to use social media to sell your movie, it's a fair shake to say that something like that's going to send your movie in a bad way. Look at what happened with Barbie recently too, and how Mattel's had to run interference on that shit. Just because of some stupid shit that Kate McKinnon said in one interview, right? And we've seen this thing. One interview, one remark, one little statement can derail an entire film. And we don't need that right now. And I'm sure that's what somebody sat down and told him. I think you're right.
I think they definitely got a little talking to. I've seen so many people. I know it's anecdotal, but anytime that comes up, the subject comes up because of that line of people saying, "Well, I'm not going to go see that now. I might have, but now they're going to have that kind of crap in it. I'm not, and so I'm not saying that was me, but a lot of people have said that.
And again, I think that's telegraphing to people, or at least it makes people think, and it may not even be the case, because like I said, it could even be, like you said, every other scene he's like, Wonder Woman, oh yeah, that floozy needs to put some clothes on. You know,
it might be harmless.
Because he's just people constantly doing shit like that or whatever. Yeah.
That's something that's been launched at Batman for decades by certain people in the context of comics and different things. You've heard people say that in and outside of comics. So it could be coming just from that. And I think it is probably the movie harmless. It's just coming from just a goofball that doesn't like superheroes and saying something dumb about it. It's not coming from Jaime. He admires Batman.
Yeah, and I just think the way it's been handled, that they could have handled it better or left it out of the trailer and let it play out in the context of the film. You're right. Yep. CC, what's your reaction?
My reaction is that social media has been a complete disaster for a lot of people since it started, and not just in movies. I mean, I used to watch a lot of hockey, and I saw it there too. Hockey player goes on, makes some dumb tweet. And I think that's just going to continue to happen. It's just a matter of what the approved message happens to be at a given time. And we've seen people like Gina Carano get, let go or amicably split or whatever terminology you want to use. And I laugh sometimes because business is supposed to be ahead of the culture curve. They're supposed to see what's coming, what people are interested in a year or 2 years from now. But they always seem to be a couple of years behind. They always seem to be following the trends after the trend has already moved on to the next thing. And that's part of, I think, what we're seeing right now is the failure is happening because they are a couple of years behind the trend, like they always seem to be. And they're releasing stuff that might have passed the test a couple of years ago, but it won't now. And maybe, just maybe, that's going to come across on social media a little bit more going forward, if, in fact, they are trying to change their own tune from a corporate standpoint. I mean, maybe that's wishful thinking, but sooner or later we're going to have gotten on with things for a couple of years, and they'll be a couple of years behind, so they'll have caught up. Yeah, that's my take, anyways.
Yep. And someone saying in the chat that, that Batman is the fastest line is not a joke. No, it's not. Like I said, it's been launched at Batman for a long time. I'm saying in the context of the movie, it's a goofy character saying something that is not like coming from the main character, not coming from a character that is particularly portrayed with any kind of respect. It's a joke of a character saying something nasty, sure. But still, it's the context it can affect it. I'm not saying it's good. I wouldn't put the line in the movie at all, but, and it is an inflammatory word right now, like as has been also mentioned in the chat. I'm simply saying that it's not coming from the main character. It's probably best not to do it at all, but it's certainly not in a trailer. So sorry, Tom, you there? Mikey?
Yeah, I'm here. Did Tom leave?
He'll be right back, but he said.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and talk, and I'll tell my perspective. My perspective is I'm not seeing this movie unless you and Paulie go see it first and tell me I should go see it. Because as a DC fan, I can't handle any more horse shit. The Flash took the last bit of shred out of me, and look, I'm not excited. And F George Lopez, I can't stand him anyways. He's a effing moron. I don't think he's funny. I never thought he was freaking funny, and guess what? He doesn't even write his own jokes most of the time. So F George Lopez, F his comments, shut the hell up. And, as far as the director changing his tune, yeah, maybe Mangold called him. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone in Hollywood took him out to the shit and said, look, bro, like you said, Claudian, look, Blue Beetle, God, could you get me Claudia? Can you get me a more like random ass, know nothing comic book character from the history of the DC annals of history? I mean, seriously. I mean, why are we spending money? Can someone tell me why we're spending any money on this character other than Hollywood wants to like, hey, let's give the brown folk a brown dude character. Ooh-wee. The few Blue Beetle comics I read, guess what? Not exactly, the top 1,000 list of all-time comic books I've ever read, frankly. I never got into the character. I thought he was lame, thought he was dumb. I'm not excited for this movie. But, they'll probably announce something like, I don't know. Let's think. Blue Beetle 2. Oh, yeah. What did I say the other day on the live stream? You know what the sequel will be, Clubby? Blue Beetle 2. Battle for the Border, where Blue Beetle goes up against Brown Cockroach, his arch nemesis.
I like it. I might watch that.
You like that? Blue Beetle takes on his new arch nemesis, Brown Cockroach.
Great villain.
Yeah.
I have heard that, the younger kids know this character from like few cartoons and stuff, but still.
Yeah, he never was like, I mean, I'm more fan of a Ted Cord, the previous Blue Beetle personally, and he's on the second. The first one was Dan Garrett. So I agree with what Mike's saying. It's a long shot that a character like this has a chance. However, there have been other characters that are relatively obscure, and if you do make a good movie, brings them into the spotlight a little bit. And the kid, they cast a really good kid that a lot of people like right now from Cobra Kai. So that doesn't hurt it for sure. But you still have to make a good movie around it. And since it's got so much going against it, like Mike pointed out, he's not big and popular. Not many people know who he is. The movie's got to speak for the character. So see, the character can't carry the movie like a Batman or a Superman or a Spider-Man. And therefore, don't do anything to wreck your chances. In the case the movie the movie is decent. And you just hurt it when you do stupid things like this.
Yeah, because it's set up to be successful in a way. Like, look, it's under $100 million.
Hold on.
You got Jolo, who's, check out.
Action Cop.
He's writing this for you. No, but I mean, it has a potential. But I agree with Mikey. I'm not a George Lopez fan.
Me either.
I would like to see this Jolo kid, get a career beyond Cobra Kai because he's a likable actor. I like him.
Right.
Whatever.
It's one of the most harmless kind of like things in the world.
This movie exists because of you and Paulie. You guys willed this movie.
We may have, Mikey. The movie itself, not so much, but the casting, yes.
Bro, between the movie and the casting, I am literally convinced that you and Latino Slant willed this casting into existence.
Wow.
There was no indication that this kid was going to get cast. But damn it, every time I went over Latino Slant and you were there were you and Paulie talking about that guy and talking about Cobra Kai and da-da-da and Blue Beetle. And I am completely convinced the two of you made this happen.
Oh, my goodness.
No one's going to talk me out of it. I'm convinced.
I can't argue. Because there may or may not have been somebody from Warner Brothers listening at that time. I can't.
Exactly.
I can't say there wasn't.
Because I know. Look, one thing I have learned is that people in Hollywood watch a lot of these channels, but they do it on the super
I'm sure
DL.
Somebody in the studio after watching Paulie and I were going, you know what? That's a really good idea. This kid is in the #1 show right now.
Yeah, because you guys broke it down with a compelling case, and somebody's agent talked to somebody's PR guy, and next thing you know, boom.
Right. And the way these Hollywood idiots think, they go, wait a minute, this kid's likable. Oh, and this Blue Beetle character that we know nothing about, he's got like an armor, sort of like Iron Man's armor.
Think they probably even clipped you and Paulie and said, and guess what? There's support amongst YouTubers and social media for this. And then they played your clip.
Well, I think that we were only talking about it because they'd already announced the movie was happening. But we actually went through what I think Paulie had compiled, like the top 10 actors within the age range who could play the role. Right. And we all just keyed in on Jolo. Like, it was just like, that's the guy. And he's got it factor, everything about it. Like, I mean, we did kind of sell him on the show, right? Go. We're like, these are all the reasons why this kid should have the part. This is all the reasons why he's better than everybody else. I think he could be your Spider-Man kind of character in this universe with the kind of, he's got that gee golly whiz kind of thing, going for him, the neighbor kid next door thing. You see, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was like 2 years ago,
Oh,
2.5, 3 years ago.
I didn't even
Almost.
know Paulie was in the chat. I wasn't even looking at the chat.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Paulie.
No, we were talking on his stream. And
Dude,
he had
you
went
guys did it
through
more
and
than
made a
once.
list. Yeah.
You
Well,
did
we
it more
brought
than-
it up. It's constantly after that till it
you're right.
happened. But yeah.
Like, click over there. You guys were talking. Anyway, I'm dragging the show down. Let's move on. I'm sorry.
Tom is a psyop confirmed. Well, I mean, I have a few sources over at Warner. I'm sure they listen, but I don't know how much influence they would have. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if a birdie said something about, hey, we should take a look at this kid. And he probably got shuffled in among the top 2 or 3 possibilities. And he had all the check marks as far as like on a popular TV show. He's not going to cost us too much because he's not in a bunch of movies yet. He does have a social media following. Cobra Kai is hot on social media. It all kind of fell into place. He's the right age, obviously. Like I said, he was the right kid for the part as far as like the character itself. So yeah.
Well, they're always looking for some kind of new character that can catch on. I mean, you know, since Iron Man caught on in 2008, and not many people knew who he was, not compared to Blue Beetle, mind you, but and he caught on because of that success. They always want something else like that to come out of nowhere.
She
That's
wasn't
also
supposed to
part of it.
tell you, Six.
I was thinking,
She makes killer grilled cheese sandwiches.
Well, let me let you on the real secret. That girl that you're dating at the cafeteria, Warner Brothers, might not be a girl.
Hmm.
Dun dun dun.
Uh-oh.
No, I can't forget this evening. Oh, your face you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes, your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows. I'm sad. I can't live if living is without you. I can't live. I can't give anymore. I can't live if living is without you. Can't live without those grilled cheeses.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna go camera.
Wait.
Keep-
I should
keep
do
singing.
this song. Actually,
Keep singing.
right.
Keep singing one more time. Repeat the
I
line.
know all there is to know about the crying game.
Wow.
That's more adequate. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
What is that, Mike?
It's my iPhone.
Oh, okay. You're okay.
Tom is the
Flashlight.
new Elvis. I don't know about that. Cast. Do old Simpson episode watch party with his crew? Maybe. I don't have them anymore. My kid destroyed all my DVDs. I'm sorry.
Destroyed 'em?
Sorry for your ears. Yeah, he watched them and then just, you know how kids are with DVDs. They don't take care of shit. He would watch them constantly and borrow them and
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, mine used to do that.
Lost a few of the discs. I still got a couple of the covers, but with like random discs in them. But let's see what we got in the super chats. We got just another red shirt who says, if Mexican Iron Man disappeared, there would be a great disturbance in the Schwartz. We read that, but it's so true. I need to say it twice. Schwartz. Sean Carter. Oh, puppy. Look at your puppy. It's a big puppy. No.
Puppy.
If something happened to Mexican Iron Man, tears would fall from windows like rain in the Amazon.
Also true.
Also true.
Ah.
E. Clay Thomason says, do you think Disney will ever spread their content too fast? Channels like NBC just announced they would. What is fast channels? That's
I don't know.
that's like the I know what it is. I'm trying to think.
Fast channels?
There's the free something streaming, free advertising based streaming something or other. Is that what they are? The free ones?
It says here, fast channels are linear and pre-programmed channels with ad breaks that use dynamic
like
insertion.
Pluto.
Yeah,
I have
that's
no
what I was
idea what
thinking.
that.
And Tubi.
Tubi, Pluto kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Free
do I think-
ad-supported streaming TV.
That's what it is. Yes. Do I think Disney ever will? Yes. But will
Yeah.
it be like their A-list shit? No.
Oh no. It's like
They will save like the Mandalorian stuff and all that kind of stuff if they ever do it for like ABC premiere nights and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of their lesser stuff that hasn't done as well, if they haven't written off for tax reasons yet, wouldn't make its way to some of these fast channels. I wouldn't be surprised. Because they sell content to other networks too. It is what it is. So yeah. Yeah.
Yepper.
Indeed do. Thank you so much, E-Clay. And then we've got Kareen, who sends a super sticker. Let me see if I can see what it is. The mod chat, grab it. Mod squad. Kareen, send a crying face. Why are you crying, Kareen?
I think you were singing the crying game.
Oh, maybe because I can't live without you or the crying game, yeah.
Or that.
G-Dog also sent us a super sticker. He sent a thumbs up. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do. We lost a lot of viewers after I started singing. Elf sends in $10 and says, hey, panel, I was rewatching Batman Beyond recently. I believe the episode Slicers predicted the future. It's about a doctor that performs DNA surgery on teens. Sound familiar?
There you go.
Coincidence? I think not. Your Muslim uncle says, oh yeah, we read this one already. I would love to. I would love to. I have to think about that. But so I know Disney has them, but they don't have all of them. And some of my favorite episodes are like the Michael Jackson episode. Dearest says, Tom has the DL in Warner Brothers Lunch Ladyland. Sloppy Joe, sloppy Joe, y'all.
I want a sloppy Joe. I
love that song. Back when Adam Sandler gave a shit. Action Common says, Mikey, who made more money, Little Mermaid or Flash? Well, I think so far Little Mermaid has, but they've got like 3 weeks on the Flash. The Flash just crossed the $100 million mark domestically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they celebrated that poor fucking victory.
Yeah. Not exactly in a flash.
Yay, we didn't lose $250 million.
By the way, the Flash's performance is further proof that this is the dumbest character in the DC universe, besides Blue Beetle.
Tell us how you feel about the Flash, Mike.
You know what? I'm as excited about the Flash as a character as Claudia is about Zack Snyder.
Yeah, that was Ezra Miller. That's not the Flash.
Whatever.
You don't like the Flash anyway.
Fuck the Flash.
Sloppy Joes are good.
Yes, they are.
Dearest, we got that one. Where did I leave off here? Here we go. Benjamin Loken says, so when is this the regional meeting of Dang It Bob Club of Mexican Iron Man? Soon, I hope.
Yeah, Benjamin, be on the lookout for that.
Will there be pie and beer?
For everybody but you, because you've had your pie allowance for the year already.
Oh man.
I threw a quarter of a pie out.
I'm proud of you.
Wow.
Wait a minute. You threw a quarter of a pie out. What happened to the other 3 quarters?
Well.
I had to eat them.
Oh, for God's sake.
Still, you didn't eat the whole thing. That's got to be progress, right?
Yeah. It went bad before I could eat it all. Because I bought it on sale, clearance.
What kind of pie was it?
Chocolate.
Oh,
no. That's a tragedy. You can't waste that.
It was kind of tasting funky, so
yeah.
It was good. Till it didn't taste good no more. And Mikey's got no room to talk fucking eating a month-old, what was it, beef roast sandwich or something like that?
That was months ago that happened.
Or not beef roast, it was corned beef. That was
corned beef, and that was Christmas when I came back from Christmas after a month and a half of being gone. Dude, there was nothing in the freaking fridge, and I didn't want to go to the store.
You order a pizza then, dude.
But since then, you've been clean. Nothing unhealthy at all, right?
Well, it cleaned out his system.
Don't you deflect on me, you Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh.
I see what you're doing. Oh. I see what you're doing. You're trying to turn things around on me, buddy.
Uh-oh. And we get our musical interlude from Tom.
What do I have to do? What do I have to say? Yeah. What do I have to go through to make this bitch go away? Well, every morning when I get up, I see the news on the Twitter. They say that say she's a quitter. Oh yeah, but she destroyed my galaxy far, far away. And made Willow go far, far astray. Well, now she's gone giving Indy a Viking funeral. What's next, ladies and gentlemen? Is it Howard the Duck, the musical? Oh no, it's nothing taken, it's no one safe. Oh yeah, might as well give up, it's checkmate. I don't care what you say, you're such a liar. Kathleen Kennedy will never retire, yeah.
They will find a necromancer to animate her fucking corpse.
That's right. That's my answer to you calling me Kathleen Kennedy.
Damn, that was pretty good. You sound really good there.
Thank you. Well, I enhanced it a little bit. The problem is there is a lot of normies who know who Batman is, says, what's your first thought? And with the Batman is fascist line, they will be instantly turned off. I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I think it's a
true.
stupid move. Without setting it up with any context, they should have left it out of the trailer. And that's not me saying that they shouldn't have had it in the movie. That's not me dictating their movie. I'm just, nobody's going anywhere, Six. Why are you making everybody leave? Yeah, because they all thought we were ending. People. No, just kidding. That was the music. I'm sure it killed the mood. Warner Brothers cafeteria lady, Sloppy Joe by day, Sloppy Toms by night. Whoa, hello.
Whoa. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my. Oh my.
Exactly. I know 100 people just left.
Well, they didn't think they were in credits, I guess. Sorry.
Benjamin Locken says, you can have my pie and beer, Tom. I'm a college student. Aw, I don't really drink beer.
You a college boy?
You a college boy?
Think you could outsmart a bullet?
That's from RoboCop.
Yeah, I knew you'd know it.
What are you reading there?
What's reading there?
Wait a minute.
You were coming with me.
I know you. We killed you.
We killed you. I love that movie.
Clarence Bardiger.
Yes.
You are under arrest for the murder of Alex Murphy.
Yeah, greatness. Makes me want to watch it again right now for the 15th millionth time.
I work for Dick Jones.
I'd buy that for $1.
All right. Well, with that,
yes,
I'm
love
hungry.
You, Mikey. He's hungry, so we have to go. And we have Elf, who's been a member for 11 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Thank you so much, Elf. We appreciate that. And with that, we are leaving. Take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
What do you got coming up, CC?
Oh, usual karaoke tomorrow night, and on Saturday, some music television with Doc Danger.
And then we got another member chat here from Ben Wade, the gunslinger, who says, I cannot believe I missed that live. I dedicated my member chat to Tom. That was epic.
Epic.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. Was there any more member chats? I think that was the last one.
I actually have something to promote tonight.
That was it. Oh, do you? Well, go ahead, Mike, please.
Well,
besides safe sex?
No. Well, you would think that Mexican Iron Man practices that all the time. You would think that.
No, not really.
Well,
not
no?
really. I'm kind of with CC on that.
Like, what's up with the silent treatment all of a sudden?
Well, it's kind. We can't agree with it. I mean, it's like you safe sex. No.
George the Giant Slayer is almost at 100,000 subs.
Oh, wow.
He's a good friend. He's been on the march now for a long time. He's at 97.7. He's 2,300 away. Ladies and gentlemen, there's about 800 of you still here. Please consider subscribing to George the Giant Slayer. Great guy, great content. And speaking of the movie we were talking about earlier, he actually is a survivor. When he was a young lad, he was kidnapped himself and found his way home as well. And he's a great man. It's a great channel. Check him out, George the Giant Slayer. Please help him sub. Tomorrow is his birthday. It would be great if he hit 100,000 tomorrow. So George the Giant Slayer channel, everybody.
George the Giant Slayer.
The link is in chat. Please sub to him today, tonight, tomorrow. Thank you.
All right.
That's all.
I miss George. I haven't got to talk to him in a while. But Clobby, what you got going on?
Well, a little under an hour. I got the clubhouse with Raquel and Mark D, of course, and then I'll be hanging with Nick and the boys at the comic shop show tomorrow night, reviewing some Ditko Spidey, and then Saturday night Star Trek. It'll be our final series finale of our reviews of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So
excellent. And Alf says, Mikey, when can we expect your friend Carlos for an interview? Maybe he can explain the origins of the famous window. Ha 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 ha.
Wow, that's really insensitive, Alf.
It is.
That's really insensitive.
Oh, is it Sly's birthday today? 77.
Wow.
Happy birthday, yo. It's my birthday. 77.
It's my face's birthday too,
Cuff and Link is still alive too, I think.
Yeah, they are. Hanging in there, Cuff and Link. Waiting.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Mikey, thanks for hanging in there. I know you were hungry. Check out Flip City.
Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
Was there something about an Elf super chat? Did we miss one?
Did we?
I don't know. I know we had a member chat, and we just read a super chat from him. I think so.
I don't know. Is it in the menu? Is it in the?
Did CC get an outro?
Yeah, I think so. Didn't you, CC?
Oh yeah. I was just did we read Alf's super chat? Mikey, when can we expect your friend Carlos for an interview?
Yeah, we read that one.
Yeah, we did that.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's like, be
I saw 6 said she was making sure everyone got it one.
Oh, okay. She might be a little behind too. That might be why. Okay,
yeah, I saw 6's comment. I was like, wait, what did we miss?
Okay, so we're good?
I think so. I just wanted to make sure too. No, we got it. Tickle Trunk says we got it. We're good. All right. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. See you.
I got molested in a little boy's room.